quick tip, just did this offline, so we'll do it online. If you don't like the list, you can change it to images by clicking on this little stripy bar and say icon. And I can see everyone took a note of that, so that's a really popular way of working. Okay, now look what happened. I made my toolbar much bigger, so this is what can happen. I'm going to go, oh, what happened? Quick, go back to reset current workspace. Yes, it's back. And that happens very simply in this software. So if that happens now, you know you can fix it. Okay, I'm going to add a title. We've got a funny preview up here because it's showing something down here. What is it showing? Yeah, it looks funny. And also this is too wide for me, so I'm going to pull that back. Also, this viewing area, by the way, it's at 50%. You can make it fit. You can make it bigger. Okay. I like to kind of see the edge of what I'm doing, not that small. So choose what you're happy with in terms of working. So let's do a title. Okay. So in order to do a title, I'm going to go to title and I'm going to say new title. And there's different types: default still, default roll, default crawl. Roll will run sideways. Crawl will, or maybe roll will run top to bottom. Crawl will go side to side. For this, I'm going to do still, just for the hell of it, okay? So it's called title 1, which isn't really a very meaningful name. So whatever I'm going to say, I'm just going to call it goodbye and good night. So it has a title, and I'm going to say okay. So once that happens, what we see in here is a preview of wherever I left the playhead on the timeline, okay? So if you want to put it on a certain, if you want to add text to a certain part of film, which I don't, you can choose and you can work out where you're going to add it, because you're now working on the frame, okay? So, goodbye. That's, you type it in. As soon as you click your cursor on the window, and good night, you can add text. You get an arrow tool, you can move it. We can edit it, change it around. Don't like that, it's got funny spacing. Gonna get rid of the ampersand. Goodbye, good night, whatever you're going to do, work on it. You know, this is designed, by the way. So you can scale using the arrow tool, grab a handle, decide what size it should be. Alternatively, you can use the slider up the top and change the size. So if you're putting in titles, guys, it can't just be Comic Sans or whatever, nor can it just be, you can click on these and go, oh my God, you don't want that, because you're designers and you know that that is awful. So consider your font, consider your layout, consider all your usual. What are you trying to say? Are you trying to say it in Sans? Arabic? Mustafi Gold? Doesn't really change. So it's an important consideration in what you're doing. And replicate in your other paraphernalia that's supporting your campaign. It should have some, you know, your types should relate to each other, or not. If you're trying to create dialogue or a message or something, think of what it's communicating and be aware of type working as type within this space. So anyhow, so this is how you add your titles to whatever you want to say. So play around with the text, do more than I'm doing here. Size, you've got letter spacing, kerning, tracking, leading. I've broken these off on one line now, but I could have keyed in a paragraph, play with leading. Here's basically mathematical placement of what you're doing. Here's color, you know, so you can choose color here. Bear in mind, red didn't really work there, but you know, do whatever you want. And what happens is this, there's no save button. It's like, where is my title? What's happening to it? You can see here, as soon as I gave it a name earlier on, it's actually in my library, okay? So you don't, it's like, what's going to happen to it? So as soon as I'm happy with what I've done, and you can see the preview here is not on the image, okay? So what's really happened here is this text has come in position on a blank screen. So I'm going to just close this, and I'm going to drag this, which is our slide title, up into my video area. So we can't see anything at the moment because the playhead is somewhere else. But there it is. Goodbye and good night. Now if I was using that as an end title here, it's kind of in the wrong place. So if I want to move it to where we had her, it's also a block. I can move it here, and you know it's there. If I think it's a bit off and I want to move it, I can double click. I can do my little moving here. If you notice these frames here, these are safe areas, so tend to work inside that because different screens will show different parts of this video. It's like bleed on a document. You always need outside that area, but if it's essential viewing, put it inside this inner square. Okay, so that's there. Okay, so I don't really want it there. Let's bring it in again, because it's kind of it's all over. So it's here. Now, if I move this somewhere in the middle, let's say it's the final title, and it's now fitting in the final here. It's done it to the other one as well. So if you need to replicate a style, or you want to have a different start title and back title, bear in mind you need to create a new title slide. So now we have it just sitting at the end. Goodbye, good night. If I go in here, double click, wait for it to turn into an arrow, new title based on current title, hello. I now have two in here. One's called hello, the other's called goodbye. Okay, so I'm now editing. Hello. And this looks all very confusing there because it's saving the template for me. But if I look down here, it's only showing this bit. Okay, so I'm going to move that. Probably should keep it on the same XY axis. So I'm going to close that. Decide now, at the very beginning, I'm going to bring in my hello title. And like a piece of film, I can choose to edit it. Where does it come in? I can go back out here and go, let's move it. Let's resize it. But it's held all the values of the font and things rather than having to start again. And if we want to have a gradual fade in and decide it should have had an earlier start, I can go into effects, video transition, dissolve, and bring in a dip to black. So now it appears